Hi there. I want to tell you a story of a very good poker session, or I might even say the perfect poker session. Almost, with one exception. There was this one hand, but I'm gonna tell you all this at the pool, so come with me. Here we are, much better if we can discuss hands here at this beautiful pool that we have in our building. First hand, I just sit down at the table, I'm in cutoff, and I post one big blind. I think it's 6-3 of clubs. I have two limpers in front of me, of course I check. Small blind completes and big blind checks, so we go 5-way to a flop of 9 for 5 with 4-5 of clubs. I have 6-3 of clubs. Good news. So open-ender, trade draw and flush draw. So I think I say so too much. I've been looking at my last vlog and like I have 4 or 5 so's in 1 minute. I have to stop saying that. So the first limper leads 300 into a pot of 500. The other guy calls, and now it's up to me. I make it 1,300, and the other gun player makes it 3,300, and it folds to me. Now, do I go with the hand or do I not go with the hand? And once I make the raise, I basically decide that I'm gonna stack off here. The problem is when he bets 3-bets the flop, I'm not sure how much fold equity I have, and if I don't, then it's not very good because it's like me calling the shove from 1,300 to 10,000. But still, with this hand, I think I have like 50% equity against anything that he might have, and under those circumstances, even if he shoves directly, I still can call profitably. Yeah, I push all in, he calls, and we hit a 7 on the river, and we win. We win the first hand, we double up, and this is the beginning of a beautiful session, and I'm gonna tell you more about it, but only after I go and take a swim, because this is why I came here. Of course, to talk to you and also to take a swim very fast. I'll be back. Alright, I'm back. I'm back with the next hand. Hijack opens to 300 and we are in the cutoff with King 9 of clubs, and we decide to mix in a little bluff here, or what would be called a bluff pre-flop. I don't agree that there's really this notion of bluff or value bet. But anyway, I 3-bet with King 9 suited to 900, and the small blind, which was tight, passive, recreational player, he cold called the big blind. Now, the initial raiser calls as well, and we go 3-way to a flop. The problem when the big blind calls is, I mean, not necessarily the problem, it's a good thing, because these type of players, they have very specific ranges here, so I expect him to have like 10s, jacks, queens, ace king, ace queen specifically, maybe king queen suited and nothing less. So we play against a very strong range, but it's easy to play because it's easy to know what they have. So we see a flop king queen 10 with queen 10 of clubs. We have king 9 of clubs, so we have flush draw and a gut shot, and it checks to us. And considering the nature of the big blind range, this might seem a good opportunity to bet, but it's not, given that he has a very strong range. So he can have here king queen, ace queen, queens, maybe even kings, or pocket 10. So this board hits him very well, and I check back. The turn is a 6, and he now bets half pot 1,800. Half pot? Yes, half pot 1,800 into 3,600, and we have to call once. We have the gut shot, we have the flush draw. We can improve to pair and sometimes be good, or maybe a king, and a king I don't think is that good. But anyway, we decide to call, and the turn is the magic jack, and he checks to us. I'm not sure if I can squeeze in a little bit extra value here. I think I should have. I've checked back and he had pocket queens, but the thing is, I don't think that he will check an ace, so I think I'm good here almost always. I'm not sure if he calls me, but if I put in a really small bet, like I don't know, 2,000 into this 7,000 Hong Kong pot. By the way, when I say 7,000, it's Hong Kong dollars. Don't think it's US dollars. So an easy approximation is to just divide that by 10. So a 7,000 pot, it's actually over a little over 700 US, maybe 800. Okay, so yeah, we check this one back, we win, he has pocket queens. Moving on, but for this next hand, come with me to the jacuzzi. And here we are. Now let's look at a hand in which we had aces. We had aces pre-flop. We 3-bet the player in our right, which was a very weak recreational player playing way too many hands, calling way too much. He opens 300, we make it 1,000, and we see a flop heads up 973 rainbow. And one thing that I knew about this guy is that he would attack very wide versus checking ranges. So in this case, being in position, I knew that he will try to steal a lot of pots when checked back to. So I decided to check it back. It's not ideal now thinking about this, because I think I can take a lot of value from, like, I think I can take 3 streets of value from his other weak hands. Maybe I can compensate that by putting in a raise on the turn or river, depending on the actual card. So the turn is a 10, and he bets 1,000 into 2,000, basically half pot. I make the call. Now I cannot make a raise on this 10 because, you know, straight gets there. He may have some 2-pair combos, so I just call. The river is another 10, and he bets again 2,000 into a $4,000 pot, and I have to call even if there's a chance that he has the 10. Knowing him very bluffy, I have to call, so I do call, and he shows me ace king. Yeah, we win this one, and this sets up for the next spot that I had with him, which is the most controversial part of the night. I'm curious to know your opinion, so here it is. I have pocket queens in cutoff, and the hijack, which is the same player from last hand, he opens to 400. I make it 1,200. He calls. The flop is king jack 6 all hearts. I don't have a heart, and he checks again. like in the last hand, I check back hoping that he's gonna bluff and hoping that I'm still good with queens because I can easily not be good. So I check back. The turn is a 10, and he bets 3,300 into $3,000 pot, so a little bit overbet to the pot. I know that he's capable of bluffing, but still this is a big sizing to call with only queens with no heart. But given the history with him, I have to call at least once and see what happens on the river, take advantage of the position I have. So I call. The river doubles the 6, which is somehow a good card for me because that means he has less combinations of pocket 6s or maybe king 6. And also now I bid jack 10, which is good. The problem is that he bets now 8,500 into 9,500. What I'm thinking here, he's bluffing. He's the bluffy type. He can bluff. He is the right player to bluff. Also, he bets big on a board where it doesn't really make sense to bet big. Or at least if he does bet big, I don't think he is smart enough to balance that out. So I think his big betting is more of a proof that he wants me to fold. I'm thinking that he's bluffing and I have to fold here. He's betting too big, the board doesn't make sense, and he's the bluffy type. And on top of that, he lost a big pot a few hands earlier, and I think he was steaming. But I started telling myself that, okay, you always lose when you call these big bets on the river. Be disciplined this time, make the fold, blah blah blah, and I made the fold. And he shows me a deuce of spade, and that hurt. That really hurt. Especially, I don't know. There's something when these Chinese players rub it in your face. Oh, I bluffed you. Fuck you. Yeah, I didn't like that. But immediately after, I took a break. My girlfriend came to the casino with food. Yummy. Thank you, Anda, for the food, for feeding me every day. And this was a good break because I was getting everything personal at this point. So the break is always a good thing. And then I came back, and I have to tell you this other hand that happened, and you're gonna love this hand. This is more advanced. This is advanced hand, but I have to share it here because it's too good to be true. But I'm gonna share that after I go to the sauna. This is something I really like doing, going in the sauna. Come with me. Only 64 degrees Celsius inside. That's not how I like it, but I'll take it for Saturday morning, right? What I love about saunas is that I can train my mind to be tough in there. After 15 minutes at 80 degrees, you feel burning, and pushing those extra 5 minutes, it's awesome. And what I do when I'm not listening to a book or a podcast, usually I do that in the first 10 minutes, maybe first 5 minutes. Sometimes I do stretching in the sauna. It's really cool. It pushes your body. And then I do that while I'm listening to a podcast or a book. And then at the end, the last 5 minutes, I just take in the heat, and I'm closing the eyes and thinking that I'm at the poker table and I have a tough decision. And I'm seeing myself how I'm taking the good decision, how I'm making the right fold, how I'm making the right play, how I am being disciplined, how I take breaks, how I don't take it personal from other opponents. So I really like doing that, and being in a place of high stress simulates the high stress that I'm being put when playing poker. So I really like to do that. But for now, I'm gonna jump in the sauna, and when I come back, I'm gonna tell you this other hand that I have, and I promise that you're gonna love this hand.
this is it, guys. This was my 17-minute sauna session, and look at these eyes. This is how you look after thinking 2 minutes on an all-in decision on the river. An opponent calling clock on you, and you're like, boo, boo, what do I do? What do I do? Oh, by the way, I just listened to, what was the name of the book? Persuasion. So the author talks about how we are being influenced by marketers to buy their product, and what can you do to be guard on your mind and on your wallet. Okay, I have to tell you that hand.
Alright guys, so here it is. Here it is, the hand I promised you about. Ace-5 of clubs in low jack or middle position, how some people call it. So it's cut off hijack, low jack. We have Ace-5 of clubs and we open to 400. The small blind, which is somewhat a regular, weak regular type of guy. Haven't seen him very much, but I've seen him lately. Don't have too many infos on him. He looks like he's playing tight and he knows to value bet and stuff like that. So we opened 400 and he makes it from the small blind, he makes it 1,300. We are 30k deep, so at this stack depth I think this is a mandatory call. We have position, we have a hand that plays very good in deep stack situations. If we hit, we can win big, but also I have to have in mind that I have to be willing to put pressure on his capped ranges in certain situations when he cannot have strong hands, but I have to be willing to bluff away big amounts of money, and that is not really advised at these stakes, at lower stakes. So yeah, I decided to make the call. We go to a flop heads up of King Queen 10 with King Queen of clubs. The pot is 2,800, maybe 1,200 pre-flop, so the pot is 2,500. And he c-bets 800, and here of course this board covers his range pretty well. He can have kings, he can have queens, he can have ace king, aces, so this is a good board both for him and for me, and I think it's even better for me because I can have ace jack here, which I don't think he can. Probably I don't have ace jack offsuit very often, but I have ace jack suited, and I don't think he's the type of player who will 3-bet ace jack suited from a small blind. Of course I'm making assumptions here. A very good player should have ace jack suited in this spot, but a Chinese regular that I don't know much about, I don't think so. Again, I'm taking a risk here assuming this, but yeah, I can have ace jack. And of course he can have kings and queens, and it's risky to bluff raise here, but this is my weakest flush draw with an ace, so I think I can turn this into a bluff sometimes. The problem here that I haven't thought in the moment, and I'm thinking about it now, is that if I get re-raised on the flop, then it's tricky. But I don't think this is a big risk, because what is he gonna do if he had pocket queens? Just get the money in when the straight is possible on 300 big blinds? I don't think so. So I make the raise, I make it to 3,000 and he makes it to 7,500. So what I was thinking about really happened, so, or what I was not thinking about at that moment, being 3-bet, happened. But fortunately the sizing is very good, and I have good odds to call here, especially with two streets to come, two cards to come, and having position and the flush draw and a gut shot. So I make the call. The pot is 19,400. The turn is an ace. He quickly checks. Now, given the fact that he checked, I don't think he has a jack now. So most likely he had kings, queens, maybe what? Maybe nothing. Kings and queens he might have, or king, queen, but I don't think he 3-bets that either. So yeah, he
he checks. Now I am the only one who can have a jack here, and my first instinct is to check back and see a free card. I have a pair, but then I thought that this pair, it's no value. The ace is no good here. I cannot hope to check back the turn and then go check on the river and win with ace 5. That's basically never happens in this spot. So I know I'm not good, and I know I'm the only one that could possibly have a jack, and if he somehow has a jack, I don't think he's smart enough to check the turn. Again, I'm making assumptions, but poker is about taking risks and making assumptions. So I decided to turn my hand into a bluff, but which is better? The pot is 1800 and we have 20,000 left. So if I shove here, I think I'm not credible enough, because I wouldn't shove a jack here. So probably the best way is to bet smaller on the turn to set up for an all-in on the river. So I decided to bet 5,000 into 18,000 pot, and then bet the rest of 15,000 in what would be 28,000 pot, so a little bit over half pot, but still 150 big blinds all in on the river. And of course there's still the chance that I can win. Yeah, so I decided to turn this hand into a bluff, which is a kind of an advanced play, and to be honest, not necessarily it's not necessary to do these plays in these games that I'm playing in. People are minding their own business. You don't need these plays to be a big winner. But whenever I get a chance, I am pulling the trigger, and that's not very often. And sometimes I just miss to say like this, or I get caught, or I made the wrong call, or the wrong fold like I did the last hand. But this time I said that okay, I'm not gonna ignore my instincts again. So I have to go with what I know it's good and make the bluff. So I make it 5,000 and he folds, and we win. And pretty much that was it for the night. Of course, there were many other hands, but everything went smooth. Small pots, I won. I lost here and then a few pots, but didn't make many mistakes, except that one big one when I folded queens. Other than that, I think I have to go to poker now. It's Saturday, it's 11 already. I'm gonna go have the breakfast. It was a good swim. Good life, man. Good life. Life is good. I have my mind clear now from poker hands, from vlogging. I'm gonna focus on playing poker today only. No vlogging, no nothing. See you next time.